You're watching KSTP TV, Minnesota's News Channel 5.
Live from Minnesota's News Channel, KSTP Channel 5. Stan Turner, Ruth Spencer, Dave Dahl, and Mark Curtis bring you Eyewitness News at 6.
Some very sensitive questions tonight about an accident that involved this car and a 7-year-old boy.
And I don't think, Dave, anyone was more excited than Steve Lombardozzi last night. Has the excitement level come down a notch or two since?
Well, it did a little bit, but I tell you what, when I showed up to...
Somebody could be that cruel in this world to a little kid, and then...
Safety comes out of the tragedy last.
Goosebumps again.
How are you feeling? A little bit tired?
Yeah,
a little bit of a headache?
A little bit, but it's probably, you know, we're facing Charlie Huff today, and that's probably the condition you'd like to be in, trying to hit that knuckleball today, though.
Hey, we have to give away one of your secrets. It has never been given away that I know of. If you take your hat off and show what's inside here. Steve was just showing the inside. He's got a picture of the Metrodome close to his forehead, close to home, and you've hit well on the road since you put it in, right?
It really has. It's improved my hitting quite a bit. I just feel so much more comfortable playing underneath a dome, you know.
Maybe it's good to be so loose playing a knuckleballer in Charlie Huff tonight, huh?
Well, I think so. Well, anyone we face, you know, the attitude's going to be a little bit more relaxed the last 5 years.
While Sean's parents grieve, the Crystal Police say they have a solid...
was even necessary.
It makes me very mad to think that it's just because of shoplifting. If it's Judgment Crystal.
Back to you, Dave.
Thanks, Tom. Will report further on the Twins coverage later in the newscast, including some scenes we did not see last night during the Twins celebrations in Texas. Mark Rosen has just returned from Texas. He'll report that story. And I'll have the story of some former Minnesota Twins, a couple of them, who are celebrating this victory from the sidelines. We'll offer both stories.
Pursuits are worth...
Except Sean's death.
I think a lot of them are in shock. You know, they really, a lot of them just don't believe it, the ones that are close. They see his desk. I even heard a comment, well, maybe he'll come to school tomorrow.
Meanwhile, there are questions tonight whether police conducted themselves properly. Mark Sapelsa takes a look at that story.
Questioning high-speed pursuit. One officer hurt, 5 cars damaged after Burnsville and Bloomington police hit speeds of 90 miles an hour during a Saturday night chase. Yesterday, 7-year-old Sean Pleaton killed by a shoplifting suspect eluding a Crystal police officer. The questions that beg to be answered here: how far should a high-speed chase go? And when does concern for public safety...
...by talking with friends on the... Richard and Helen Strauss offered Joe's organs for transplant after his death. They say the thought of helping others is all that makes sense of their son's death.
More testimony in the double murder trial of a New Scandia couple killed by their son. 17-year-old Daniel Wickham is accused of killing his mother and stepfather last New Year's Eve. Today in court, his girlfriend testified Wickham was calm when he told her of the murders. The prosecution says the murders were premeditated. The defense is trying to prove they weren't. Tonight, a judge in the murder trial of Dwayne Bisek has denied a motion for a mistrial. Earlier today, the defense asked for the motion, saying a question the prosecution had asked implied the defense had doctored evidence. Bisek is accused of killing his wife and daughter last year by blowing up their truck with dynamite. Today in court, his sister-in-law testified on his behalf as Bisek listened and cried.
More citations against the Minnesota Veterans Home tonight concerning sexual abuse at the home. The state health department has issued 3 citations. Department officials say a male resident molested a female resident at least 7 times before home...
I suppose it would get worse, right?
One police chief told me 25% of high-speed chases end in accidents, 10% with injuries, 1% end in death. In Robbinsdale, I'm Mark Sapelsa, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Friends of Sean Pleaton's family have set up a special fund in the little boy's name. If you'd like to contribute, send donations in care of the Citizens State Bank, 3700 West Broadway, Robbinsdale. The zip code there is 55422. As for that high-speed chase on Sunday, a savage Minnesota man faces a long list of charges after an army of police cars went on that pursuit. 25-year-old Anthony Wisnew is charged with criminal assault, criminal damage to property, along with 2 misdemeanor charges for drunk driving. The chase involved police in Burnsville, Bloomington, and Apple Valley, and when it was over, 1 officer was hurt and 5 squad cars were damaged.
According to the defense, a prosecutor's question could have damaged murder trial proceedings in Chaska, where Dwayne Bisek is accused of blowing up his wife and daughter. Defense attorney Ron Meshbesher requested a mistrial after the prosecution questioned a witness. Meshbesher contended that the question implied the defense had doctored the evidence. After considering the request, Carver County District Court Judge Martin Mansour denied the motion. While he said he has some serious concerns about the question asked by Assistant U.S. Attorney Thomas Heffelfinger, he does...
Memories will linger.
Stand over here.
From the court record. In an unusual twist, the prosecution in the murder trial of a New Scandia boy called his former girlfriend as a witness. Daniel Wickham is accused of killing his mother and his stepfather. And as Carolyn Brookter reports, the key in this trial lies in proving whether the murders were planned or not.
15-year-old Jennifer Jansen entered the Washington County courtroom as a witness for the prosecution. Jansen was 17-year-old Daniel Wickham's girlfriend. The defense concedes that Wickham shot his parents New Year's Eve. Jansen was with him the day after the killings. Jansen told the jury that Wickham came over to her house the next morning and told her about the murders. She said, quote, "He said he shot her," unquote. She said the two left her house later that night, jumped into a car and drove away. She wanted to leave the state. Instead, they headed south on I-35. He later pulled over at a rest stop in New Market and made a 911 call to alert authorities about the shootings. Both were later arrested. Jansen, though, was never charged with anything. Jansen described a stormy love-hate relationship between Wickham and his mother. When asked if he ever talked about shooting his mother, she said, quote, "He would joke about it. He just said he would blow her away and he'd laugh," unquote. The defense is trying to prove that Wickham did not plan the murders. So under cross-examination, defense attorney Dave Ralston asked Jansen, "You've never heard Dan say the words, 'I'm going to shoot my mother'?" Jansen answered, "No." And so the prosecution continues to try to convince the jury that Daniel Wickham did plan these murders, while the defense tries to plant the seeds that they were not premeditated. Carolyn Brookter, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
And friends and relatives of the victims are expected to testify when that trial resumes tomorrow.
Business news here. The company that is trying to buy out the Dayton Hudson Corporation sweetened its offer today. The Maryland-based Dart Group Corporation today offered $6.6 billion for the Minneapolis-based retailer. Just last week, Dayton Hudson's board of directors rejected a $6.3 billion offer from Dart. Local stock analysts today predicted Dayton Hudson's board will reject this latest offer as well. As for Dayton Hudson, their public response on the new bid is that it won't change their mind. By now, you certainly must know, how could you not, that the Twins' bid to win the Western Division has been successful.
And, Dan, the public response to that bid has been fantastic. One sign of the winning ways of the Twins is hanging on the Fauché Tower right now, a 5-story tall banner that tells the world Minnesota is home to the best team in the Western Division. And we all know that Minnesota is also home to lots of Twins fans who are sure to want playoff tickets now. Some 15,000 tickets for each game will go on sale tomorrow at all the Dayton stores in the Twin Cities. And tickets will be sold in 2-game strips for $15 or $20, depending on which seats you get. For the Twins in Texas, the party is over. They've got to get ready now for another big game tonight, and we'll get a live report on that, live from Dallas, coming up in sports.
Yes, Bud. Next up, a win for the city in a fight over the most famous treehouse in Minnesota, and a huge housing problem facing some people who come here just to find a new home. Those stories
in a couple of months. Today, a bit of Twin City by the Wrecking Ball. They demolished St. Paul's 46-year-old Farm Center. The dance hall once played host to the likes of Glenn Miller, Glenn Gray, Benny Goodman, Count Basie, to name just a few. Now, a car dealership and fitness center will be built on that site. But many of us, when we pass that spot, will always hear music.
enough.
Tomato sauce and a hearty helping of meat.
Bobby, I want you to try new Hearty pasta.
New Franco-American hearty ravioli, twists, and macaroni.
This is great.
Do you have the most complete health care coverage possible, or are you settling for something less? Med Center's health plan. Your coverage better be this good.
Chalk went up for the city. At least one round. The city of St. Louis Park has won the latest battle against treehouse owner Mark Tucker. A temporary restraining order was issued today, which prohibits Tucker from having any more open houses. It also says he cannot allow anyone in the treehouse other than his immediate family. Hennepin District Court Judge Daniel Hart ruled Tucker's treehouse is in fact in violation of city building codes, and until he complies, the use of the treehouse is extremely limited, so says the judge. The limited availability of low-income housing is posing a special problem for a group of people who come here especially to find a new home. They are the refugees from Southeast Asia. And Catherine Smith reports more than 1,000 will come here in the next month.
Niakua and his wife and 5 children are starting life in their new country. Like many other refugees, for the first few days.
For outside $1 a share plus stock. That's $3 more a share than DART's previous offer. The Dayton Hudson board rejected that bid. Today, Dayton Hudson stock was up $1 a share to close at 59 1/4. Dayton Hudson had no comment today about the latest offer, but analysts say it'll be more difficult to fight a takeover as DART raises the stakes. Overall,
we have the family to be a family again.
The St. Paul subsidized housing market is already overburdened, and with an influx of Southeast Asian refugees expected to arrive here this fall, more than 1,000 new names will be added to the list of people in need of public housing. Officials say the wait for some will be years.
You'll receive a letter in about 2 to 3 weeks, and it will tell you how long you have to wait.
Public housing officials say they're being patient
out there as they were.
Basement. And finally tonight, Henry Ford II, who ran the Ford Motor Company for 37 years, died today after a battle with pneumonia. Ford was 70. Several new laws go into effect October 1st, and you'll be reaching deeper into your pockets to pay for them. A new sales tax takes effect. It'll be
40, 50, even 60%, maybe higher, of their income for rent.
And there's no solution in sight. Beginning in October, St. Paul's housing office will stop taking applications for 4- and 5-bedroom units because of a 5 to 7 year waiting period. With more refugees still to come, the prediction from the housing authorities? A situation that may become so desperate, refugees will be forced into lying about where they live just to keep a roof over their head. Catherine Smith, Channel 5 Eyewitness News, St. Paul.
Now, Niakua and his family are lucky. Their sponsors have been able to find them housing in St. Paul, and they'll be moving into their new home next week. Housing officials say they will be lenient about the overcrowding cases, but only, they say, for a while. Ruth?
There is a decision tonight on the cause of a plane crash that killed 4 people near the warm front.
The South, where country music is extremely popular.
I'm sorry for you, my friend. At WAXX FM Stereo 104. Keep listening because at any time you could be...
Tim Wilson has been on the air at Wax for 10 years. He says the station has a large following throughout Wisconsin because it's different than most other stations on the dial. Wax is known nationally as a market innovator. The station books lots of big-name country acts every year. They sponsor bus trips to Nashville. A third of the music that Wax plays on the air comes from compact discs. All major factors that led Billboard magazine north of the Mason-Dixon line to find real country. In Eau Claire, Eric Olson, News 11, the Wisconsin Bureau.
It's great to hear of a successful station in Eau Claire. That's neat.
Thanks, Mary.
Okay. Still ahead of News 11. Paul Douglas says stay tuned for a cool down.
And the division champs take on Texas, but big deal. The damage is done. Tom Ryder will have more on the Sweet Twins when we come right back.
Family place. Saturday and Sunday, still no significant precipitation. Highs warming into the low 70s, overnight lows in the 40s, and the next 90 days is going to take us into the icy grips of winter, and we'll take a look at what the Weather Service is saying for the 90-day outlook tonight at 10 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you. And in just a moment, amid the excitement and pandemonium of the Twins division victory, we'll talk to 2 former Twins players.
When I could say that. All Glidden paint's on sale now. Later with with energy-saving switch. Just 3 place. First with heart surgery, and now they're...
Year in and year out are among the best in the world.
Washington apples. They taste good.
And they're juicy and sweet and even pretty to look at.
It's the kind of apple that you pick up and you take a bite out of, and you take another bite until it's gone. Now that's a Washington apple. How can you beat that?
A is for Washington. Apples at their very best.
Furnaces are boring.
You can handle.
And it's yippy and skippy. So I punch. If you big bills, then they're not boring, and that's bad. Here's a Weathermaker gas furnace by KARE. Wonderfully boring. Heats for 40% less than typical older furnaces. Boring furnace. Memorable savings. Yeah.
Paint with free TRS.
Investors say call your neighborhood Carrier dealer today.
And for outside, Glidden Spread House Duraflat, just $9.99. We won't be undersold.
We're 0.25%. How much more? While some other plans, maybe even your plan, try to get by with much, much less. Med Center's health plan. Your coverage better be this good.
Around the Loving Country tonight, Twins fever, and it's running high, literally. A banner on top of the Fauché Tower in Minneapolis says it all. Our Twins, the division champs, where the West was won.
Pretty nice. You know what, you're going to have to check into it. I would say they'll probably end up playing Toronto. I think Toronto sort of has Detroit's number at this point. You have to find out what the average high temperature is up there, because they'll be playing up there in presumably what might be some real cold weather.
Cool weather.
Very, very possibly. About cold weather here this weekend. Yeah. 40s for highs there, certainly.
Now, for this time of the year, he elected to hang on to his job with Coca-Cola, where he is now the director of sales and marketing. How would that 65 team compare with the current club?
I think we were probably a little bit stronger hitting-wise. I think defensively we're even, or else maybe the present club might be a little bit better. I'm not sure about that.
In 1981, at age 27, a back injury canceled out what many felt was a Hall of Fame career and left infielder John Castino with a life of pain. There are many of us who felt Castino would have made the difference in 1984, the year the team flopped.
I think I could have contributed a little bit to the team, and the team certainly had a tough time there towards the end of the year. And I think I could have helped contribute to that. Perhaps if I'd played all along, maybe we would have had a little bit of a lead rather than playing as a game or two down. But I really don't think the team then was ready, had gelled yet, and is anywhere near as good as the team is today. And I think a lot of that credit should go to Tommy Kelly.
Shortly after the injury, Castino took a job in the front office of the Minnesota Twins, but it didn't pan out. Why?
Well, it was still a raw wound for me being out of the game of baseball as a player, and it was very difficult for me not to be on the field. Every time I'd come to the ballpark and I was supposed to go to the office and talk with the executive people and talk about building a team, my heart and my first inclination was to go down to the field and be with the players, talk hitting, talk about the pitching, how we can do this, how we can do that. And I really didn't feel like I fit in well in the front office, and no fault of anyone except myself.
How do you put their chances in the playoffs?
I'd say they have as good a chance to beat Toronto as Toronto has to beat the Twins.
After working in real estate, John is now pursuing an MBA degree in business management at St. Thomas College. The rest of the day's sports news with Ralph John Fritz coming up.
Did Bob Allison say they have a stronger hitting team? I don't know. Bobby, I love you, but I'd have to disagree with you.
You have to take it player by player, don't you?
Take it player by player. We will return to Texas and Tom Hanneman as we look to the future of the Minnesota Twins. What's up next? What's Tom Kelly got up his sleeve? Bring on the East. We are ready, folks. Stay with us.
Shine tomorrow for sports.
Eagle Drugstores present their fall season premiere, featuring spectacular savings on Black & Decker's Steam and Dry Iron for only $9.99. 11-ounce Colgate Instant Shave, just 88 cents. And Ruffy's plastic bags for trash, kitchen, or lawn.
Let's look from the National Weather Service tonight at 10 o'clock. Ooh.
Oh, that should be exciting.
Yeah.
How accurate are those, by the way, before we...
Anywhere from 55 to 60%, give or take 20%.
Well, Well, get your money ready and place your bet, huh? There's a sure win for you. See ya.
Thanks, Paul. Still to come on News 11. A pat on the back for some students who persevere in the name of knowledge.
And a pat on the back and then some as the Twins let it all out.
Highlight Ice Milk from Wells Blue Bunny.
Investor Savings consistently pays higher interest rates than most Twin City banks and savings and loans. Take a look. Here's what a $1,000 certificate of deposit will earn at some banks and at Investor Savings. Here's what opening a passbook account with $1,000 will get you at some banks and at Investor Savings, a full 6.25%. How does your bank rate? To find out more, look for our ad in your Sunday newspaper or call the office nearest you. Member FSLIC.
Songs to sing along with. From the Light FM, FM 103, WLTE. Listen to the Light FM at work all day. At home to take it easy. In the car. Moore's got you at night and on weekends to relax with a family and friends. Here's how we do it. No boring, sleepy strings. No elevator music. No blast of rock. Just hour after hour of songs to sing along with. On the Light FM 103, WLTE.
We were just talking, it seems like tonight's game's kind of a throwaway, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be such a letdown after last night. I mean, clinched last night. You know,
That was exciting.
What's the point? The party's over for now. It's back to business. But, you know, the memories of last night will go on for a long time to come. Twins, of course, clinched their first American League West title since '70 by beating Texas in Arlington. That touched off a huge celebration, a celebration that Channel 5's Rob Lear and Mark Stevens were a big part of. And right now, we're going to go back to Arlington for more on last night's festivities. And just a second ago, Dave Dull and I were talking about how many of the regular players are going to start tonight.
Well, maybe one. And, that's against his will. The Twins, though, will field the team here tonight. The party is over, but only because a small matter like a game is scheduled to be played. The Twins and the Texas Rangers tonight is a meaningless game for the Twins, and, well, the Twins have already done what they've set out to do, and that's to win the division and get ready for the playoffs. The winning game now starts for the Twins. And, of course, the waiting game includes the 1987 championship that was clinched for the Twins last night, and that triggered off a celebration that went into the wee hours of the morning.
The scene has been scripted many times before, but for the first time in 17 years, the production was made in Minnesota. The Twins were on location for the final take, and last night the players turned the Texas locker room into a cast party they'll never forget.
Just unbelievable. The only thing that can be bigger, I guess, is a World Series win. It's got to be the biggest day of most of these guys' lives.
From corner to corner, the clubhouse was a madhouse. Champagne showers, victory cigars, hugs, and handshakes. The team that took them one game at a time knew their time had finally arrived.
That's what we call putting our hands together.
It's just the greatest feeling right now because we know we accomplished what we set out to do, and made believers out of everybody.
We kept trying. We finally did it. It just couldn't happen to a better organization. I'm just as pleased as can be.
Nobody in that clubhouse left dry last night, including our own Mark Stevens. Mark?
Oh, and one heck of a party it was, Robbie. One that the effects may have been felt a little bit into this morning. Kent Herbeck, I know you were out a little bit late last night. Has everything set in what took place yesterday?
I think so. It finally set in when we came to the ballpark today and actually put our uniforms on and smelled how clean the clubhouse was and how they had to clean the clubhouse up. And just walking on the field and knowing that this game tonight really doesn't have any significance to where we end up at all. It's a great feeling.
It was nice to be a part of that celebration last night with you guys. A dream come true?
Well, I was talking to you before. It seemed like we were almost there before because you watch it so dang many times, but you don't actually get the feel of it. And last night we got the feel of it. Got the burning of the champagne in the eyes and the beer over the head and stuff like that. It's hard to explain to somebody until you actually get in there and find out what it's really like. It was a blast.
Okay, Ken, hopefully there'll be two more of those celebrations, one for the championship and one for the World Series. Mark, back to you.
All right, you guys did a great job down there. Have a nice flight home. All right? Thanks a lot. While the Twins begin to gear up for baseball's postseason, North Stars are gearing up for hockey's regular season. Tonight, the tune-up continues.
is the kind of stuff that dreams are made of.
Well, the Twins are making believers out of the odds makers, among others. 6 months ago, Harrah's Las Vegas listed the Twins 30-1
to earning a high school
League championship, while the World Series was a 60-1 dream. Now that the Twins have won the West, Harrah's says odds are 2-1 against them winning the American League playoffs, depending on who the opponent is, Toronto or Detroit. Odds are down to 3.5-1.